Hi everyone, welcome. We've not started just yet. We're waiting for 2:00. Sorry, I was just looking at my screen. It felt like there was something missing, but everything's there. Okay, so you can already make yourself comfortable. You can do this session either seated or lying down. It's completely up to you as usual. Remember, this is your time and your space. So make it the most comfortable as you can for yourself. Okay, so welcome to today's session. Right, so I had mentioned that I was going to do a series on the chakras, but I'm already going to be making a break in the series because I felt like there was something more important to do today, which was to deal with change and to learn to feel better through change and to see ourselves progressing through change. We're at an important time right now because we're coming out of the isolation time and things are starting to get back to an more active lifestyle, and socializing is starting to happen again. But things are different. Things have changed, and although we talk about going back to normal or going back to how it used to be, we are not going back there because we all know that this has dramatically changed. And even though there are ways that we can recover quite a great deal of how it used to be, we cannot fully go back to that. And so I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to talk about change, about how we can progress through it in a healthy way. And also, I talked to one of the people that attends my meditation class at the Efford Central Library. And she mentioned something interesting. And so I'm going to talk about this today as well. She mentioned how it was weird because sometimes she would talk to me and I would share things about my life, and she'd see that I go through stress and I go through life experiences the same way as everybody. And then she was saying how I look so calm and peaceful and collected when I'm doing the meditation classes. So I just wanted to mention how everybody, no matter what they do, no matter who they are, everybody goes through crisis, everybody goes through stress, everybody handles it in all sorts of different ways. We're all different, we handle stress differently, we cope differently, and we respond differently, but we all go through it. The only difference, and one of the reasons why you may not see this so much in me as you may see on other people, is because I believe our whole system functions like a spiral. So if you were to see a spiral, actually, I'm going to do it like this. So let's say that the problem is here, the stress, the crisis is here, and we start here. So we are dealing with the stress now, and we're finding techniques to deal with it. And then we're going round the spiral, progressing on our journey, getting better, moving away from the stress, and then boom, we come back to it. And then we deal with it at a time again. But because, so I'm demonstrating it wrong, it should be more like in the center or close. uh, Like if that's the center, the stress is here and we're here. And so we progress on the spiral little by little, we go further and further away from it, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's better. So as we are going through the spiral, we progress through our year, for example, and then at some point or another, we come back to the zone of stress. But because we've dealt with it and we've progressed through our time, it's like we are further away from it. We are less fired by it. It has less power over us. And so as we keep on progressing, we go further and further. So what I'm trying to say here is that maybe right now with the stress, let's take, for example, COVID-19 as the stress. Let's say that that stress is here and you feel like you're here, but you see me there and thinking, oh, wow, she's nice and relaxed. She doesn't seem bothered. That's only because I've just gone through a few more loops of my spiral and I've been dealing with the matter with the techniques that I use. Yes. And so the idea is when you have a stress is for you to find the techniques that work for you to help you deal with it, if that makes sense. And so meditation being one of them. And so as you see other people coping better with things, it doesn't mean that they're not stressed. It doesn't mean it doesn't affect them. It just means that they're in a different place on the spiral on their journey, if that makes sense. That's basically really what I believe myself and how it feels like for me, the process of healing. Okay, so today we're going to do a session about change and coping with change. And it has to do with changes moving forward. If you look at the day, when we go through a day, we change, we progress, and the world around us also changes and progresses throughout the day. If you look at the seasons, we shift from one season to the next, and many changes happen there. Everything is always in perpetual motion. The galaxy, which by the way is a spiral, is also in perpetual motion. And so there is change, there is motion happening. If you are immobile and you are not moving, you cannot change. But we are in a dynamic of life where change happens. So, what do you think happens if you stop moving and you are meant to be changing and evolving? Well, what happens then is that disease sets in. So, it's important to keep moving, it's important to keep changing. But it's also important to find the right balance. So if you feel like today you just can't get out of bed, then you should stay in bed. But staying in bed should not become your lifestyle, if that makes sense. There are days when you need to shift, days when you need to rest. It's all part of the process. It's all part of going around the spiral. But it's about not standing still and not going backwards, if that makes sense. Okay, so that was a lot of talk, and I still have to introduce the session also, reminding you to keep safe at all times, to make yourself comfortable now, to know that you can change position at any time. You don't have to stick to the position, and especially if you feel pain, you can move. If you need to, you can stand up and walk. It's completely up to you to feel as comfortable as possible in these sessions. Also, it's important to feel safe mentally and physically. So that means that if any activity creates you too much stress, then you can sit it out. You can decide to relax instead and just do nothing. Or you can go back to our first activity, which is the focus on the breath. So at any time, if you feel too uncomfortable, please know you can go back to that. You can also get in touch with me if you encounter any problem or if you have any question about this session, okay? And any future session, of course. Okay, so as this is a Reiki session, I'm going to be sending Reiki at the same time as we're doing this session. So please, now, if you would like to start by taking a minute to first of all focus on a gratitude, something that you feel grateful for that happened in your week, something positive, something that made you feel good. And also, if you wish to, you can focus on an intent for the healing. I am going to focus healing for change, for allowing change, and for letting go of barriers and blocks that stop us from changing and from enjoying the change. But if you have any other intent you would like to add to it for the Reiki, then please do so as well. It can be anything to do with stress management, with your body aches and pains and health problems, with injecting positivity in any aspect of your life, like a project or a relationship or work, anything, even going back to life as much normal as possible after the crisis we've just experienced, that also can help. Okay? So, first of all, if you would like to make yourself comfortable, that was a lot of talking, so we are now going to let the energy settle. And then, when you're ready, you can take a deep breath and close your eyes. Just for a minute, letting my words settle, allowing for some thinking about what I've just said to happen if you want to. Just as if it was dust or mist settling onto the ground. Just letting these words drop. Just letting this energy settle. And now focusing on the gratitude and on the intent for the healing. And now moving on to our first meditation, focusing on our breath, relaxing deeper and deeper already now, and switching off every thought in our mind. No need to focus on anything right now but your breath, and keeping on relaxing. Little by little, switching every thought off in your mind. Little by little, letting go of every thought and focusing your whole attention to your breath as if it was the most important thing in your life now. Nothing else matters but your breath. And already, as you are switching off your thoughts, little by little, you are letting go of a lot of stress and tension, relaxing deeper and deeper. There is no need to change your breath in any way. Focusing on every sensation that your breath brings to you. Sensation of the airflow as it goes in and out ever so gently. The softness of the air as it brushes through your nostrils, your nose, as the air passes at the back of your throat and through your windpipes into your lungs, observing every sensation. And relaxing deeper and deeper. This gentle rhythm calming you down at the root of your being. Your body and your mind already feeling much more relaxed now. Breathing in and out as naturally as possible without forcing it. And continuing to let go of every thought and gently, effortlessly focusing on your breath. Remember, if you get carried away by other thoughts, just gently bring your mind back to your breath. And now I'm going to ask you to consider what the future as a whole would feel like to you in terms of its energy, in terms of images, in terms of colors, not in terms of events, just in terms of the sensations that future may bring as a positive. So focusing on positive feelings, sensations, vibrations, colors, concepts, words, even that the future may bring to you. Only positive. What would that be like for you? I'm going to ask you now to use your breath, as we're still working with the breath, to breathe in the positive that the future may hold, and to breathe out any block, any stress, or any tension that you feel about the future. Thinking about tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next 10 years, next 20 years. Breathing in the positive of the future and breathing out any fear, any block, any stress about the future. Find your way for this to make sense to you. And if you feel that it doesn't make sense to you, then just know and hear my words to know that this is what is happening. You are breathing in all the positive things that the future holds for you. And you're breathing out any fear, any stress, any doubt about the future, any tension that the future creates in your system. You are breathing in all the positive, all the happiness, all the joy, all the positive energy from the future that is coming to you. And you are breathing out any fear, any stress, any tension that you feel about the future. You can even breathe out the concept of not wanting to look at the future. Breathing in the positive about the future, the joy, the happiness that is going to come to you from the future in your life. Breathing out the stress, the tension, the fears about the future. Right, when you are ready, you can take a deep breath to finish. Bring your mind back to the space where you are and open your eyes. If you have water by your side, like I do, you can take a sip of it, like I will. Okay, so for those of you who have joined us in the middle of the breathing exercise, I had mentioned that I was going to do a series on the chakras for the next few sessions, but I'm already taking a break today because I felt that it was a session that was more important to do today, which is a session about change. So now we've just done a breathing exercise about change, looking at the future, what the future holds, feeling comfortable moving through into the future, and allowing, especially allowing to move ourselves and shift ourselves and change. Um, so, going back to what I was explaining, it is about not being immobile or static and to actually keep shifting and progressing the way that the whole universe is in constant motion all the time and in constant expansion as well. So are we. And if we don't, then we go against nature. We go against all the dynamics in nature, and that's when we get sick. So I'm inviting you now. We're going to continue working on this the whole session, and I'm inviting you now to do an activity on some affirmations. Now, with the affirmations, the point is that the brain is very much like a computer. Whenever you tell it something, like if your mind thinks a thought, the brain will take it as it is. It doesn't judge whether it's positive or negative, whether it should keep it or throw it away. It just takes it and it uses it as its next order to abide by or rule to abide by. So that means that if you're telling yourself, I'm stressed, your brain is going to make it such a way, it's going to create all the opportunities possible for your whole system to constantly be stressed. If you tell yourself, I'm happy, then your brain is going to use that as its next command and will make everything as much as possible available for you to be happy. So that's how the positive affirmations, that's one of the ways that the positive affirmations can really help us. If we go a bit deeper into this, we can talk about vibrations, and positive vibrations will have a positive effect on us and will cleanse out negative vibrations, which is, when I say vibrations, it means energy. I don't know, I can't remember the name of it, but there was a test that had been done where there was two pots with rice in it, and one was on one side, the other on the other, and for 1 month, I think it was 1 month, one pot would only receive abuses and negative energy words, and the other one would only get love and kindness words. And that love and kindness words rice stayed good much longer than the other one. Look it up. I can't remember what the name of the person was that did this and the name of the test, but that is the power of positivity and positive affirmations and words. So now moving on to the next meditation, if you would like to make yourself comfortable again, to start relaxing again. And then when you're ready, you can take a deep breath and close your eyes to begin. And the idea with this exercise is just to bring positivity back into your mind, to focus on the words I am going to mention, and then just to see what comes when you hear these words. To welcome the thoughts this time. We don't have to switch off the thoughts, but only the thoughts that have to do with this affirmation. Anything else can just go for now. And the first affirmation is I am safe. Just focusing on these few words. I am safe. This is quite a challenging one, and also a mighty powerful one. I am safe. I am safe. The next one is I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. Remember, there is no way to do this wrong. No matter what you are doing right now, you are doing the right thing. And so now we are going to put both affirmations together, but in a different order. I am alive and I am safe. I am alive and I am safe. I am alive and I am safe. Now we're going to move on to the next meditation. And for that meditation, we're going to be looking at the progression through a day to experience change's most beautiful and powerful way. And so I'm going to ask you to imagine that it is about 4 o'clock in the morning at this time of the year in the UK, which means that it is almost summer, and by 4 o'clock it's already quite light in the sky. And you can't sleep, so you go for a walk and you end up in a field. And at the bottom of the field there's a pond. So you decide to go and walk to that pond. You can see where you're going because the sky is just bright enough. The sun is about to rise, but not quite yet. As you get closer to the pond, you start looking for a place where to sit. So that you can just relax for a while. And as you sit down, you notice that the air may feel a little bit cool, but it is quite comfortable to be sitting there by the pond. Everything is ever so quiet. Everything is so still, no movement anywhere whatsoever. There is not a single cloud in the sky. And already the day is getting brighter and brighter. The sun is just about to come out. It feels like it just so wants to come out. But somehow it's not out just yet. There are dewdrops everywhere. In fact, it feels a bit wet where you are seated now. And then magic happens and the sun starts to rise. Slowly by slowly, the sky changes colors from a dark blue, light purplish, light blue kind of color. Oranges and pinks are now starting to join the palette of colors. And as you can start already to see the sun now, some brighter oranges are coming through and even some yellow. And the sun progresses on its rise to about half of it now. Everything is starting to get brighter around you. The plants around you that had been sleeping are starting to want to get up, to lift their heads up. Flowers want to open, but haven't gotten there just yet. Occasionally, you can hear noise from a fish in the pond, an ever so gentle trickle of water splashed as the fish moves. And the sun continues rising almost to its full size and shape now. You can feel the warmth of its rays on you now already. And yet you know that it's going to be a very comfortable day. The sun is fully risen now and starting to make its way across the sky. Flowers are starting to open. You can hear the first bees flying past, quite a distance away from you. And you can see some animals passing by, ever so quietly, just going about their day. Maybe a fox, maybe a dog, maybe a rabbit, maybe a little mouse. The day is getting warmer and warmer and still very comfortable as we are progressing through the morning. And you can observe changes and shifts in the landscape. Maybe there is more activity in the pond with the fish. Maybe you can hear a few frogs. And once the sun has reached the highest point in the sky, it is now going to move forward into the afternoon. It got quite hot when the sun was just above you. And now the heat is going to settle into warmth. The day is going to get a bit darker. And as we progress through the afternoon and the sun starts to go down, flowers are going back to rest and shutting down. Everything around you feels like it's settling down, ready to embrace the night that is coming. And as the sun goes to set, all sorts of wonderful colors appear in the sky. Shades of orange, pinks, and purples. And so you watch the sun going down. You might even catch that beautiful green ray that I believe happens at sunset. And as the sun progressively disappears, and that it is getting darker and darker, you can start to spot so many stars in the sky. It is now time to go home. And so when you're ready, you get up and you walk away. Now we're just going to take a quick break before we move on to the next meditation. And so when you are ready, you can take your time. And when you are ready, you can take a deep breath to finish. Bring your mind back to the space where you are and open your eyes again. Again, you can take some water, and I know I will. This meditation was about showing the progression of a day, to show change and to experience change in the most beautiful and powerful way. Because change is always there and it's always around us. The only way that there is standing still and immobility is in us. Everywhere else and everything else is mobile and is shifting and changing and evolving. So now that we've experienced this in nature, we are going to look at ourselves with the next meditation and at experiencing change within us. So once you've had your sip of water, you may have moved a little bit to make yourself comfortable again. Then you can take a deep breath to begin the next meditation and then closing your eyes. Focusing inside yourself again, letting my words settle. And then shifting away from these words. And I'm going to ask you to imagine yourself standing there in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't have to be any place, it doesn't have to be anywhere. You can imagine just white light around you everywhere. A no space place. And I'm going to invite you to know at the deepest of you that you are going through change. There is such an alignment of planets at the moment that they are affecting us in the most powerful way to push us through change. We are letting go of so many things, old beliefs, old thoughts, old traumas, all these things that are taking a lot of space within us. It's all shifting away from us. We are shedding all this to make space for new things to come. I am going to invite you to see yourself as if you were outside of you looking at you, standing in that space or no space, white light environment. Again, you do not need to do this in a perfect way. Remember this at all times. Just knowing you are doing it is enough. And if you can see yourself standing there now in that space, I'm going to ask you to imagine your old self, the self that you have been up to now, the person you have been up to now, with everything that you need to let go of: fears, stress, traumas, old beliefs, blocks from other people, blocks from situations, anything that may make you feel limited in your progression. Now, I would like you to imagine that there is a giant zip going from the top of your head all the way to the bottom of your feet. And I'm going to ask you to unzip that zip all the way down, knowing that you are removing a bodysuit, the bodysuit of all your old beliefs, of all of your old self that does not need to move forward with you from this moment on. And I'm going to ask you to unzip that zip all the way to the bottom. As you are unzipping this old self, you are opening to this beautiful new self made of golden light inside. It is you, your truest form, with all the stress, the tension, the old beliefs, the blocks, and everything removed. And as you have unzipped that giant zip, little by little, the whole bodysuit of all these things that you can let go of now is slipping away from you, dropping down and disappearing into the ground beneath your feet to never come back. And your true self inside, this golden light self, full of life, full of energy, full of new beliefs, full of faith, is welcoming change. It is change. It is the new you. It is the you that is going to step into the future and is going to get from the future the most amazing amount of happiness and joy and life energy, life force. You are so strong and you don't know it. As you step out of that bodysuit and that bodysuit disappears, you are in control and you're reaching the highest amount of strength and power within you to face anything the future holds, but mostly to receive all the happiness that it can bring. Now we're going to move on to the next activity, which follows through from this one. And it is to look, now that your bodysuit is gone, or that it's still going. Sometimes it can take longer than other times, and that's okay. You can face the future as if you were standing and in front of you was the future, the back of you was the past. And the past is not existing anymore and it's just white lights. And the future is that big, bright sun. Some of you may have already done this with me before. You don't need to think about any thought about the future, but just to see this big, bright sun right there. And to know that the future can be anything you want it to be. And that sun being the future is sending you the most warm and amazing rays of energy. It is healing you through its rays. And you can absorb the warmth and the heat, the beauty and the good feeling from these rays of light to welcome you into a future that is safe and comfortable and that is filled with happiness. Just keep on connecting with this beautiful energy from that sun. And you can even visualize, if you would like, the good things that it's bringing to you. The future can be safe and comfortable. The future can be happiness. The future can be vibrant health. The future can be sweet love, soft love. The future can be kindness. The future can be being financially comfortable. The future can be a happy job or career. The future can be a comfortable house to live in. The future can be amazing time spent with friends and family. But the future cannot be the past. So create your future from nothing to everything. You have that power. You have that energy to make it anything you want it to be. It all starts with a dream, but it all can come to reality. It can become your present. And now, if you would like to join me in rubbing your hands together, we are going to finish with our love meditation. Once you've generated enough heat, bring your hands to your chest where your heart chakra resides. And you can sit there just for a few minutes, relaxing and feeling the energy from your hands going into your heart chakra. Today, we are only just going to stay like this, relaxing. We've been on quite a journey with this meditation. And so you can just relax, think of nothing, and focus on the sensations from your hands going into your heart, knowing that you are giving yourself love and healing yourself at the deepest level here, like this. You can always also spend some time sending this energy to anyone you would like to send it to if that's what you would like to do. Otherwise, you can just relax here and today just taking in this energy for yourself. Because we always have to look after ourselves first so that then we can look after others. When you're ready, you can bring your hands back down. Taking a deep breath to finish. Keeping your eyes shut for now if you would like. Otherwise, just opening gently your eyes and then starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes, your arms and your hands. But before you go, there's a few things I need to ask you or to tell you. The first thing is to ask you, um, as we're going through change now and people are starting to go back to work or to a different kind of life than in the last month and a half, I would like you to let me know what is the ideal time and day of the week for you to have this session. At the moment, it's always been on a Wednesday at 2 o'clock until 3, and it will still be for 1 hour. But I would like to know if there's any other time and day that is better suited for you, or if this is perfect. You can email me or text me with your choices. Please try and give me several days and several times so that I can try to match as best as possible what suits for everyone. I would really appreciate it because I really would like to find the right time for everyone. The other thing is that we are going to be going through a period called Mercury retrograde. Mercury being a planet, and retrograde meaning that the planets have a certain speed by which they are rotating, and Mercury and most planets sometimes slow down to the point where, since the Earth still goes round, it actually looks like the planets are going backwards. And what happens is that normally Mercury, as it goes round, affects us with its wind from its motion, as far as I understand it. And so that has got particular aspects that act on us. And when it goes into retrograde, these winds are not there anymore because the power of rotation is not as strong. And so things start happening. And this is a period that is often dreaded by everyone because we can end up having problems like, so many digital problems, like laptops that stop working, the Wi-Fi that keeps crashing, the phone that all of a sudden is messing around. And it can also affect us in terms of communication, bad communication, misunderstandings, judgments on things that were never said but were misunderstood, arguments that start because people are not really understanding the other person, all these kind of things. And also, because of those things, it is not necessarily a very good time to make new decisions, to sign contracts, and that kind of thing. Now, this is what we generally are told when there's Mercury retrograde. But what I believe is like everything else. It's like when you send love to something, you're sending such positive energy that you get that energy back. It comes back to you because you're a magnet. Whatever it is you emanate, you bring back to yourself. So if you send love to Mercury retrograde instead of sending fear or worries, then what you may get out of it is a lot more positive. And so I'm inviting people to think of, because so it's about a month it's going to last. I think I saw somewhere that it's going to last until 12th of July. And so that's a period of time where instead of focusing on what's going to go wrong, focus on what's going to go right. And it's like, okay, so my phone crashes, then I'm going to take this time to enjoy being without my phone and learning to realign with life without a phone. I'm not saying phones are going to crash no matter what and we're going to spend a month without phones. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is trying to shift into the positive what it is that people tend to put into the negative. And so embracing Mercury retrograde. One of the experiences that I've had with it is that I would take the train. So there's several retrogrades in a year, and there's one in November in particular where I get troubles with transports. So what I do, I tend to either not take transports like trains, especially, but if I do, then I embrace the situations. And so that means there'd be delays or changes or things like that. Then it teaches me to take my time. It teaches me to adapt. It teaches me to keep sane and relaxed through change. Yeah. So just bear that in mind as you know that this is coming. Okay, so please do not hesitate to contact me to let me know about the days and the times when it's most convenient for you to do this session. And also, do not hesitate to let me know if there's anything that you would like us to do that I have not done or that I have not done in a while. Bearing in mind, I am still going to try to continue with the chakra series. And so next week should be the Sacral Chakra episode. Okay, well, have a good week and I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you.